All right, welcome back to DeLoney V8 Motorsports. Something different today. A little bit of a recap, a road trip recap from our vacation. My wife Kathy and I took a road trip down south. It was a really good time. 3,140 some miles or something like that. We've been married for 33 years, and I don't know, I guess probably 8 years ago or something, we might have spent this much time side by side, not working, and it was a really nice break. And so if you're new to the channel and you're here for car stuff, stay tuned. There's a little bit of, there's a few pictures and maybe video clips from this trip. We were lucky enough to see some stuff, but just wanted to give a recap. I'll try to go fast here. I actually made some notes, and forgive me for reading those, but I have to go through there. Also, if you're new or if you're a new subscriber, gotta say thank you. There's been a pretty good jump in subscriptions. I think we're at like 720 or something like that. And it's last week was actually pretty good. I think we jumped by 40 subscribers. If you've never subscribed, check it out. It's free on YouTube. You can pause right now, you can navigate to the channel, and you can hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it kind of gives us a boost here. So we're trying to get to that magical 1,000 subscriber mark. So I'll run through these notes and talk about our trip. It was really a good time. Got to see some great friends. We took a little bit of time planning this trip, and we laid out a few goals, and we wanted to disconnect from work. We wanted to see the sun. We wanted to see our friends, and we wanted to discover a couple new towns, which we did. And so I'll just run through these really quick. So the first leg, we took off early on Friday and got off work early and headed towards, well, we were really trying to head towards like Redding, California. But we jetted down I-5 and we did a lot of research on the way to try to see if the roads were open. And it was actually sketchy. We couldn't tell for sure if the I-5 pass at the Siskiyous was open or not. So we ended up taking the safe route, Kathy's suggestion, and we held back. We stayed in Medford that night, and that first leg was, 277 miles. And so got up the next morning and got on the road and headed south. We drove a full 865 miles to Arroyo Grande, California. And that's where we had our first stop and got to visit our friends there, Bill and Stacy and their daughter Hannah. Beautiful town, beautiful place of theirs, absolutely 5-star accommodations. Just had a blast with them. We actually got to go out right when we got there, not long after we arrived. And got to go out for a really nice steak dinner with Gary and Sunday, and actually happened to be Sunday's birthday the next day. And so we celebrated at a great steakhouse. I wrote it down here, F. McClintock's Steakhouse. Really, really good food. We didn't know it at the time because it was dark, but it actually overlooks the ocean there. And so got up the next morning and went on a really nice tour. Bill, that's kind of his town. He's lived there forever, and took us all around, gave us a fantastic tour, explaining kind of how the town grew up and what was where. We had a really, kind of one of the high points for me for this trip was that morning we went on a really nice beach walk, sunny, beautiful California coast weather, and just had a really nice time. From there, we took off. We went to see a place, and I'll put a link in the comments for this place. It's called Vista Lago. It's an adventure park. Bill and Stacy actually run, and it's open in the summers down there. It's a really cool setup. It's tied to a campground, and so pretty sizable, beautiful, scenic campground. And at the end of one of the roads, there is wicked zip lining and a really neat adventure park. Including a water park that they run. And I think there's actually a pub attached to that place as well. and I forget the name of it. Oh, Stacy's gonna kick me next time I see her. Anyway, Vista Lago, I'll put a link in the comments. Check it out. If you're anywhere near Arroyo Grande in the summer and you're into zip lining or any kind of adventure like that, or a pub stop, check them out. Let's see, what else? Oh, so that same day we went on and went to something a little out of character for me. We went to a wine tasting. We went to a vineyard, Edna Valley Winery. I'll put a link in the comments for that too. Absolutely gorgeous setting. Really nice facility. We were lucky enough to get there early or whatever and got a table overlooking a giant, there's a huge window and just a beautiful view of the vineyard. And actually there's an airport. It might not sound like it mixes well, but there's an airport just beyond that. And so the whole time we were there, besides the scenery, we were seeing airplanes land in the distance, which was kind of cool. So let's see. So yeah, I mean, literally the first day we checked off, right? We're seeing friends. We got to see the sun. We're discovering a new town. Neither Kathy or I had spent any time in Arroyo Grande before. I might have driven through there once in the 80s when I was working for Payless drugstores, but never spent any time there. And it's just a beautiful little beach town. We had a great day. Got to see the pier, had a nice dinner. They have a neat little community really close to Bill and Stacy there. It's a neat little kind of main street, old school, with pubs and coffee shops and things on both sides. Just a fun stop. So. The next day, so this would be, we're now to Monday. We took off from there and we needed to get on the road because we were trying to get to Palm Springs. But before we went there, I took a quick stop and they were closed, unfortunately. But I stopped off at the Hot Rod Ranch and I dropped off some DeLoney V8 beer koozies. And so I hope they got them. I love their stuff on Facebook. Check them out, Hot Rod Ranch. They have a lot of old Tri-5 stuff. Early Ford hot rods and things like that. Just a cool little shop. In Lompoc, actually, California. So we took the drive from there. I think we stopped in Santa Barbara for lunch, kind of a nice, quick little lunch stop there, and then went on to towards Palm Springs. It was a white knuckle drive through LA traffic in the rain, so that was a rough drive, but another 260 miles there to Palm Springs. And we stopped there, we got there pretty late, it was dark, and just had a nice dinner there in Palm Springs, decent hotel and everything. And the next morning we got up. And we were going to try to get on the road. We were trying to make our way to Carefree, Arizona. But we went ahead and gave a shot to stopping at the tram. And it was kind of cloudy that day. We weren't sure how it was going to work out. But we got right on the tram. Definitely the highlight of the Palm Springs stop was the tram. Gorgeous views. If you haven't ridden anything like that, it goes almost vertical up the side of this mountain, and just a beautiful view at the top. There was a ton of snow. I'll put a picture or two in here and show you the snow. It was a pretty thick layer of snow at the top of there, and fun ride down. I talked to the crew that run the tram. Neat guys. Actually follow some of the YouTube stuff, not our channel, but other car stuff. And so we kind of hit it off with them. And then actually we stumbled on a car lot. And I didn't catch the name of it, but we rolled through there, got out and looked at a bunch of classic cars. And I'll put some pictures of those in there. A neat old Corvette. a neat old Ford wagon, a bunch of other stuff, just unique kind of variety. And what it was, we went inside and talked to them. They were wrapping up a car auction, and so most of the cars had been sold, but they kind of had them on display in their back lot, and lots of cool stuff there. So we hauled from there, Palm Springs, towards Carefree, Arizona, 300 miles, and to visit some more friends of ours, Dan and Angie, there in Carefree, Arizona, which is a beautiful place. It's definitely a desert community. Lots of really nice homes around there, beautiful landscaping, and a really nice scene. You kind of overlook Phoenix. And so the sunsets are gorgeous there, and had a great time. We went to dinner the first night, and I didn't catch the name of the restaurant. It was really good. It was on a golf course, really good food. It was funny. We went out to 3 different places while we were there. We were only there a couple days, but the service was fantastic. We just had great service at every stop. Really impressed, and good food too. We ended up going the next day, so this would be Tuesday midday. We went to, I'm sorry, this would be Wednesday. We went to the Hideaway. And so this is definitely kind of a biker bar setup, really cool place. I'm telling you, if there's ever like a nuclear war, the awnings and the architecture at this place will survive it all. It's all built out of super heavy steel, very rustic, cool place. And it was funny, we're standing there, it was kind of a rough weather day. It was windy, cold, and a little bit rainy. And here comes a lady walking her horse right through the parking lot. I'm not sure where she was headed, but so we stopped and got a picture of that. I'll put that in the video here. But great stop at the Hideaway, had a few beers. They have live music there, definitely check them out. And there's a bunch of really cool bars on that strip. Lots of Harleys, and it's definitely kind of a biker bar community, and it looks like a lot of fun. So great stop there. And again, we got to see a little bit of sun when we were in Carefree, but check off the boxes. We got to see good friends. Dan and Angie were awesome. The accommodations were absolutely 5-star. They have a beautiful place there, and lots of fun. And then the road trips to and from Carefree were fun too. It's desert, it's open, wide open. So sorry, Thursday morning, we headed towards Parker, Arizona, and we wanted to stop and see a couple of different places I've been. I wanted to show Kathy, and one of them was Fox's, and I'll put a link in there. Fox's is a floating bar. It's on the Colorado River. It's kind of known for being a fun place, live music, great bar. And because it's right on the river, it's got a fantastic view and a dock. And there are speedboats that go up and down this river all the time. And so this time of year, it was pretty quiet. The water was beautiful, very clear, picturesque there, but there weren't any drag boats going up and down the river this day. But still, got to show Kathy that, a quick stop, had a bite there and a beverage. And then we got on the road. So what was that? 176 miles from Carefree to Parker, and that was really a fun stretch. Wide open, all small towns, and no traffic. I mean, we got to make some time there. It was great. And then so we jetted short trip from Parker to Havasu, and the goal there was really to look around. I've been to Havasu a handful of times in the past year or so. We've got friends that built a house there, Kirk and Tammy, and beautiful area, really fun area. There's off-roading, boating, all kinds of cool stuff in Lake Havasu. And of course, the weather is stellar. And so anyway, so we drove in there. We were lucky enough, and got a shout out to Heather Macy. So Heather Macy, she's with Remax there in Havasu. We wanted to see a few properties down there. We're thinking about maybe trying to live the snowbird life at some point, who knows when, but Heather's very busy with what she does there. and she was able to take an hour or so, and she lined up 3 properties. We went and took a look at them, just tiny little homes there, but we liked what we saw and we're thinking about it. But thanks to Heather for squeezing us in, very short notice. We literally called her on her way into town and she made it happen, so that was awesome. She also told us about something that we ended up going to. We had no idea this was going on. We went to, there's a car show, Havasu Deuces. And so they have this car show. It's on one of the main streets in Havasu that has a lot of activities. I was there for Desert Storm almost a year ago, and they have the Desert Storm activities on that same street. And just absolutely beautiful 32 Fords lined that street, and a bunch of other cool hot rods. So more car video and pictures I'll insert there. So. From there, we jetted out to Barstow, and so we ended up leaving Havasu a little earlier than planned. We weren't sure if we were going to stay in Havasu Thursday night or what. We're trying to get to Bakersfield on Friday morning, and so we wanted to get some miles under our belt, and so we ended up I picked Barstow, and no offense to anybody from Barstow or who lives there, but our experience wasn't necessarily, it was probably the low point. It was a 1-star stay there in Barstow. Although I'll say it was the Best Western or something there. It was a pretty decent breakfast. And so, but I'll paint a little picture for you here. So we pull into Barstow, it's pretty late. It was 191 miles from Havasu to Barstow. And we roll in there, it's dark, pull right up into the main area to check in, and what's in front of us, gorgeous new black C8 Corvette. And I remember noticing it had black California plates, the old school black and yellow California plates, which I thought looked really cool on that car. Other than that, I mean, it looked brand new. It was flawless. So didn't think much of it. We ended up took a short drive while we were there. We were going to go out to a bar, but we ended up deciding not to. And come back in, and I noticed the Corvette parked off to the side, in the parking lot. And we go in, didn't think anything of it. Well, the next morning on our way out, you could see the scene. Nobody was around. There wasn't any people or vehicles or anything around, but here sat this black Corvette in its parking place with the back bumper cover wiped off of it. And it looked like somebody had backed out of their parking place, maybe cut it a little too tight, and literally ripped the back bumper off of this Corvette. Everything sat there. There was a big pile of dirt in the corner, so either the vehicle that hit the vet or maybe the vet had a bunch of dirt clods underneath it. Anyway, it was really sad to see. Don't know the person who was impacted by that, but that was a real bummer to see that. I'm sure it's all fixable, but sad to see such a nice car get damaged like that. So anyway, Barstow, yeah, I'm not sure we're going back there anytime soon. Anyway, so we got up Friday morning, and for me, this was going to be probably the biggest day, and it was to get to the Bakersfield March Meet. This is a race I've been to a bunch of times with good friends, a lot of good memories, and this time I got to share it with Kathy. So I was really looking forward to it. Bill and Stacy from Arroyo Grande were planning on coming over, so we were kind of staying in touch with them to meet up with them at the track, and we did. And so we got there. It's funny, I texted on the way. It was 148 miles from Barstow to Bakersfield. Another kind of desert drive, wide open, not a lot of traffic. But I texted my buddies and said, yeah, I should be at the track by 9. Well, pulling in the track right ahead of us was a beautiful 55 Chevy Gasser. And took a snapshot of it, and it was 8:59 when I took that picture. So made it there on time. and just absolutely had the best time with Bill and Stacy. Hanging out at the track, kind of doing what we do. It was a quick stop. It was just one day at that event, which you can spend a week at that event. The event goes, I think, 4 or 5 days. And so it was a short stop. There was a few people there I didn't get around to see or say hi to, which was a bummer. But still, you know, got to see a lot of the cool cars. The nitro, the rounds of nitro running and the altereds and everything, and had a fun time, of course, doing what we do, beers at the fence. With who we know as the Beer Girls. So Shannon and Chandra, we got to see them both. And no surprise, Bill and Stacy have hit it off with them, and just great people. If you haven't been to Bakersfield and been to the tower side of the track and hit up the rolling beer carts and the girls that run those carts, you're missing out. Fantastic service, great people, and ice cold beer along the track. I mean, how could you improve on that? So good time there. We left, and so this was pretty much wrapping up our trip. We left there. Kathy drove us north, stopped in Visalia, and no offense to anybody from Visalia, but this was maybe a 2-star stay in Visalia. The stockyard smell kind of hits you in the face the next morning, but and then drove on. So we ended up deciding we were going to do Napa on Saturday and hit another winery and come home Sunday, but we chose to go ahead and skip that. We were getting homesick at that point and getting kind of tired, you know, a week of fun and partying, and so we ended up jetting home, and I drove the whole way, 793 miles, and so just had a great time. We definitely met our goals. We disconnected, we saw friends, we got to explore a couple of the new towns. We got to get out in the sun a little bit. It was kind of funny when we were in Carefree, the night we stayed there, or the second night we stayed there, and the morning we left, there was snow. There was snow all over the cactuses and snow in the desert. It happened there. And so, yeah, we felt at some points we felt like we maybe brought the bad weather with us, but we did get a little sun. We got some warm weather, especially at Bakersfield. Had a great time. Big thanks to Bill and Stacy and Dan and Angie for putting us up a couple nights each. We really had a great time seeing you guys. Appreciate, you know, the opportunity to stay with you there. That was one of the big goals, was to see friends, and we did. And just had a great time. Big thanks to my bride, Kathy. Shoulder to shoulder for 8 days and 7 hours and 3,300 miles. We really had a lot of fun. We needed to disconnect. Kathy works extremely hard. We both have somewhat high pressure jobs, and it was good for us to unplug, disconnect, get out and see the sun, and hopefully we'll do it again soon. Thanks for watching. We'll add some more clips at the end. Check the comments for those links, and take care. And again, all the folks that have been subscribing lately, thanks very much. And thanks to Stacy, my new head of marketing. She's done a great job adding subscribers. So we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.